Good evening, teachers. Welcome to another Titchy Live session. Titchy Lives are our weekly live training sessions on the Titchy channel. Today we'll discuss how to create and grade assessments using AI. We'll focus on the grading process using an automated pedagogical grading assistant. Last week we took a deep dive into the topic of creating assessments. I recommend watching last week's live session. Well, a warm welcome to everyone. For announcements, the form to fill out for your certificate for today's session will be pinned in the first comment on YouTube at the end of the live stream, so you can find and complete it. Sound good? Also, share in the chat any topics you'd like to see in future sessions so we can provide content that meets your needs. Agreed? Let's get started then. I'm going to share my screen with you. This is the Titchy dashboard. Today we'll be using Titchy.ai, the artificial intelligence you can use in your classroom, the same one we used last week. So how does Titchy work? Titchy is a pedagogical artificial intelligence designed for teachers. The difference from other AIs is that it connects everything in one place. We've had other lessons on this, but it's the perfect spot to create and grade exams, give students their grades, manage your calendar and planning and organize your classes. It's all in one place. It's not just some random AI tools you might find online, use once and then discard. It's something that truly fits into your routine because it's not a generic AI like ChatGPT, which really isn't built for education. Well, Titchy can be used for free. It operates on a credit system. You accumulate them by logging in daily. It takes 10 seconds. And you click to redeem your free credits. You'll accumulate 100 credits every day. Titchy's tools cost between 100 and 200 credits for each tool you use. So you need to redeem those credits to be able to use each tool. And how does the paid version work? The paid version gives you infinite and unlimited credits. We'll provide a special coupon later so you can take advantage of it on Titchy. Now that we've covered how Titchy works and how to use it for free, let's dive deeper. Okay, this is the Titchy screen. To start, we can click this button for over 60 tools to see everything Titchy has to offer. By clicking here, we can go to the assessment section and see some of what we covered last week about creating assessments on Titchy. And we also have automatic grading here, which includes many of the features I'm going to show you today. But focusing on assessments here, I wanted to start by showing you how to do the test application and grading process entirely online. So you can bring your students into Titchy so that you can also grade assessments without having to print anything. First of all, before we start in this AI Tools tab, we can go here, look, to classes. You'll click here and create your class and add your students. So I already have some classes here. I can click on create and I can give my class a name. So I'm going to put class 9 here. I can select the subject I prefer. Let me choose, for example, this one. And I can also choose the grade level I'll be working with. And when I create the class, I can send the link for my students to join via WhatsApp, for example, or I can add them manually. I can upload the student list here so that Titchy fills in the name and email of each student if I have them on that list. And they will be automatically added to this class I'm creating. This process is important because to grade an assessment you created within Titchy, whether online or even on paper, you'll need this information, as we'll see later, because Titchy generates files according to your students. So let's go back to the home screen, all 60 plus tools, and I'll go here to assessments. And I'm going to create an assessment. I'll put the same subject as before, and the topic will be the water cycle. So I can put the theme I prefer here, and then I come here and choose the number of questions, question type, multiple choice or not. And I can also base it here on assessments, exam questions, from other entrance exams. I'm not going to check this option. I'll just click create here because our focus is the grading process. So Titchy will bring up our test here and I'll show you the way so that you can do the grading process 100% online within Titchy. It's also super easy to do, very straightforward. And this time to generate the assessment varies according to the number of questions you requested and so on. Anyway, here we have our questions, the complete assessment. And then once it's ready, after you've reviewed and edited everything as you wish, as we discussed in the last live stream, you'll come here and click this button to do the grading. Clicking here will open this screen. So you click here and this screen opens. You'll choose the on paper or online option. And this is where the magic of what we're doing happens. For both, you'll need a class created in Titchy, which is what I started by showing, to do this grading process. So I'll choose online first just to have as an example. I clicked here, Titchy will ask me to choose a class, and this class needs to have registered students. I'll choose this one, for example, next, and here I'll set, for example, the start date, end date, and I can shuffle the options. I'll click next, and Titchy will send this link for me to share with my students, or I can just click here to see it inside the classroom, right? Which is the class I have created within Titchy. I can see the assessment I created here, and I can see the entire history of students who have or haven't taken this assessment. So it's quite interesting because Titchy will give you this general overview of what's been graded, what's been done, and what hasn't, which is interesting to observe, right? For the teacher to have this overview within Titchy. So this process is very straightforward. Then once you have the assessment already submitted by the students, now you just have to wait for them to complete this assessment so you can do the grading process there. I'll show you an example now of an assessment I've already graded within Titchy so you can understand. So let me just load my screen here. My internet isn't very favorable today, but we'll manage. So we have this assessment here on the Pythagorean theorem, and we have all the students who have already taken it here. And we even have a grade here that I've already graded for us to check. So this was a test I did online as a test application. And I can review the feedback Titchy gave and the grade it assigned for each item. So when I click here, I see all the questions. So the questions here are in the language I selected for this test. And Titchy provides all the feedback here too, according to my selected language. And if we notice, this is a math test. We have several multiple choice questions, and Titchy provides the options here. And we also have open-ended questions here for the student to do the calculation and submit. And Titchy will read the image with the student's calculation. It's also very interesting how it can understand all the points of this grading. Here, for example, the student put the full calculation into Titchy, but they didn't provide the entire answer. Why? Because Titchy asked in this question for the student to provide both the calculation and the theoretical explanation for that result, but the student only provided the calculation. So Titchy assigned half a point to this student here. But if I, as the teacher, while I'm doing the grading for this, the grading of the grading that Titchy did, right? The review of this grade that it assigned, I can give, for example, 1 point. Oh no, he did the calculation correctly, forgot the theoretical part, but did the calculation correctly. So I'm going to consider it 1 point. Just a second, I'm going to drink some water. So I can consider 1 point for the student here. The teacher has total freedom to customize the grading process they do within Titchy, as is the case here. The feedback for the student here, this part, will appear for the student when the teacher publishes the grade. And everything here can be reviewed. So basically, we have this very simple, very fast online grading process. From the moment the student answers on their end in their Titchy access, the teacher can also see the answers on this side and send them the grade very quickly. One detail, the grade is not sent to the student unless the teacher clicks here on Publish Grades. If you don't click it, the student won't have access to this grading, which is important for the teacher who is still reviewing or wants to wait for the whole class to finish before sending. So it's very interesting to observe that as well. And a question you might be having, right, is about whether students need to pay or not to access Titchy. They don't need to have any subscription to take the assessments you send to be applied online, okay? It's quite simple. They have the same credit system that teachers have for students, but they have tools focused specifically on students. Well, this is the first way we have to grade within Titchy. Now, I'm going to show you the way to grade a test that you created in Titchy, but doing the grading on paper. How will it work, right? This grading of a test that you made and want to grade on paper. Well, let me open our test here again so you can see it. Again, we have the previous test and I'm going to click the same button, but this time I'll choose on paper. And when I come here, I'll have the option to generate the resources to do this test on paper. Once again, I need to choose which class it is, and this class needs to have registered students because Titchy will generate individual printed resources for the application of this test, which are very important, which have the correlation with each student's name. So we have the student assessment, the student answer sheet where they will need to enter everything, their answer card. And here we also have the answer key where the teacher can see the answers for each question. So to give you an idea of what this view looks like, basically it's in a standard test format that teachers are familiar with, the question booklet with all the questions, etc. And the answer key is also standard, as every teacher knows. But I'm going to show you specifically the answer sheet so that you have there. This is a visualization of what the student's view actually looks like. Let me just download it here on my computer so you can see exactly how it would appear in practice. All set. So we have the test, we create each student's name, the class, and the instructions. This will be generated, in the language you're using on Titchy. We have the fields for students to mark multiple choice questions, and we have the fields for students to answer open-ended questions. See how there's a QR code here? This QR code is linked to each student's name. So the student, Christina, has her QR code. Here, the student, Angelina, has her QR code, and so it goes individually for each student. And how does the grading process work? You can click here and see this test you created within the classroom. And you can see, look, how many students have submitted it or not. And unlike the online test you assign, when you give a paper test, this prompt will appear here on Titchy for you to upload this test that you corrected, that you created, and want to grade within Titchy. So it's a different view from the online test where you don't need to upload any photos, and there's no mystery here. You can scan it or take a photo of your assessment created within Titchy so that it can perform this grading process. But you need to follow this workflow so that Titchy can easily link each person's QR code and so that you can upload the photos. So for example, let me try to find an assessment here that was done in this format. Just a second. I have a few helpful examples already prepared for us to check together so you can really see how Titchy is able to read all of the available options smoothly. And in a bit, I'll show more about the essay grading process, for example, so you're also in the loop. So here we have another assessment which was also done on paper. So we have the same notice for Titchy to remind you to upload the photos. And we have the graded assessment for each student, which you can also review. The view is very similar to what we saw before. But here, Titchy will display the photo you uploaded, of the student's answer sheet. So for question 3, this was the student's answer. Titchy can perform this identification and read the student's handwriting. So here the student answered in Portuguese. I don't know, because this assessment here is in Portuguese. And Titchy was able to easily read what was written. So it can identify any type of handwriting and any type of language as well. That's what's quite interesting. So you can do this for your own language. And the cool thing is that some teachers have trouble understanding students' handwriting, right? Because sometimes some handwriting isn't that legible. So this isn't a challenge for Titchy. It can understand it too. Well, and this is the second way for you to grade your assessments within Titchy. In the third way we have here, I'll go straight to all tools and I'll go here to automatic grading. We have the essay grader. Here you can also create an essay project within Titchy. We saw here that there are several assessment possibilities. Let me even go back. We have here, look, assessment. You can generate an assessment project within Titchy, etc. Also linking it to a class. Or you can click here and simply grade an assessment that your students did outside of Titchy. I also find this process interesting because you have the freedom to do something more independent with students in the classroom. Well, you'll select your class because once again, Titchy will link each answer sent there for this grading to a specific student. And generally, Titchy's correlation goes by the name of the file you upload. So I'm going to attach an essay file here. And this file has a name here. And Titchy will read this name as the student's name. I can put the name of the assessment here. So I already have here too, the overexposure of violence in the Brazilian media. This is the theme of my essay. It's an essay theme that's also in Portuguese, but I can do it in any language. And I can also add new ones here. This one was already saved because I had already graded this essay before, and Titchy kept it here for me. I can also create a new assessment name through here. And here I upload the assessment. And here we have the essay prompt. Since I had already sent it to Titchy once, it already filled it in here. But if I haven't sent anything, Titchy doesn't fill it in. So here Titchy also places the rubric. I can select it, so let's say I'll create a new one here. Media exposure is important. I'll be the one to create it, and here I can simply click right here for Titchy to help generate a variety of creative ideas. This makes the process much easier and more efficient. I can set it like this, and I can come here and select my rubric. So what will be my grading criteria? Then I'll want, it's an argumentative writing rubric. Then you can put it here. Titchy will bring up all the criteria for you. And you can also click edit and customize each of these criteria. So here the teacher has total freedom, and you can even assign other scores here for these criteria. I'm going to click grade here so Titchy can bring it up for me. So it will cost for those using the free version 100 credits per image to do the grading process. So we have it here. See what I said? It linked the file name as the student's name. I could have already put each student's name on each file if I wanted to. So I'll put here, for example, John. I'll save it. And Titchy is doing the automatic grading process here. When it's finished, we'll have this essay graded here completely by Titchy. We even have other students here who haven't submitted yet, who are already registered in this class. And when we look here, you'll find it quite interesting, but Titchy can read the student's entire text, everything written there, and do this grading process, which is also very cool to do on Titchy. While Titchy is grading here, I want to know if you're enjoying the live stream, if you're going to use it in the classroom. And I also want to know what your favorite topic was from the live streams we've done so far. Well, it's graded now. It was super fast. I'll click here to see the feedback and the grading. So look, Titchy, read it here, selected each part of the student's text, and also saw the image of this essay the student wrote. And here in the rubric section, we have specific feedback and a specific score for each criterion for this student. So we can also see grammar here if there are any errors in this student's writing, and we can see the personalized feedback Titchy generated, which is very interesting. And then the teacher can mark it as reviewed, and coming back here later, they can see the other students. So it's also very interesting. I'm back here on my home screen, and now I'm going to show you the last way of grading we have within Titchy. And now we're going to go here to All Tools, Automatic Grading, and we're going to grade an external test that we have here as a possibility on Titchy as well. So a test that I didn't necessarily make on Titchy, but I want to grade. So here we have this test here, for example. Let me get it here. We have this test here. It's also a test that's in Portuguese, but we have the question here, the prompt, and we have the answer right here. So this is the test I'm going to send to Titchy so it can do the grading. Titchy here, it asks for both each student's test as well as the answer key. And my answer key, in the case of this one I'll use, will be this, which is very similar to the test. The answer key, when you send it to Titchy for an external test, ideally should be the version of the test you're giving, the one being graded, with the correct options, okay? So this is the answer key, and it's basically the test being answered correctly, so that Titchy can make the correlation. So I'm going to add the student here. Then I can put the photo here. I can put several photos, more than one per student. Let me just download it here. The assessment that I'm going to do the grading process with you. So I'll attach it here. The student's test attached. I can put several here. So there are 10 photos of this student's test. I can put all 10. And here I'll put the answer sheet, the key for this test, attached. Once that's done, I can click generate here. So that Titchy does the grading process for me as well. Very easy to do, very smooth. And here the teacher doesn't have to worry about anything else because Titchy will already do this process much more quickly. Of course, you can do the whole review process. The teacher always has the freedom to update and edit everything. And look, Titchy once again put the name I saved when I added each student. Each student, I could have customized it. Since it's an external test for Titchy, it didn't read the QR code to correlate because there wasn't one. But I can see the feedback for this assessment here once again. So Titchy gave here, right? All of its feedback for this test as well and assigned a score. And I can change everything and leave it however I prefer. In the case of this example I brought, there weren't many correct answers. Well, these are the main ways we have to grade assessments within Titchy. Once again, we use Titchy.ai here. You can do this whole process. If you have any questions or concerns, I would recommend that you contact our helpful support team, who are here to assist you. We are always in touch with you, especially through WhatsApp. I'll leave it here on the screen. Here is the WhatsApp for you to check. Let me just add it here for you to check as well. So, I need to ask a quick question. Was there something missing for me, or did I perhaps overlook anything? I can chat with this number here on Titchy's support WhatsApp and easily find out how to get help with whatever I need. Besides that number, you can click right here on this image in the corner of the screen within Titchy. And when you click on this image, you'll also have access to our support contact information. You can send us a message here so we can help you with whatever you might need as well. Well, that was today's live stream. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope I've been helpful to you, and I'll see you all again next week. Now, before we wrap things up, I almost forgot about what I promised you. We have a special coupon available for you to use, which will let you get a discount on the plan that we mentioned earlier. This offer is just for you, so you can save some money when you choose the plan we talked about. Since we have the premium plan and the free plan, on the premium plan, you can use the coupon YouTube10 to secure your discount. 10% off the annual plan and 10% off the monthly plan. The price will vary depending on the country registered in Titchy, but you can get this discount in any country. So there's a tip for you, okay? Remember that the certificate form will be in the YouTube comments once our live stream ends. And I'll see you next week.